Hello there, and welcome to the Bit of Peacock. It's my channel where we talk all things Leeds United. I'm back again. It's 2 days or whatever. Prolific. But yeah, there's been some news obviously today to speak about. Which everybody must have watched England last night. Very, very poor. A 0-0 draw with Ghana. Looks well. England are probably through, aren't they, to the next round? But for all intents and purposes, they've got Thomas Christensen's Panama, who lost in the middle of the night to Croatia 1-0. They're on 0 points, although they haven't been thrashed in either of the two games. Only 1-0 deficit both times. Obviously, England played Thomas Christensen's Panama. I think it was 2018 World Cup. Maybe I seem to have recollections. Jesse Lingard's scored a couple of goals. It's 6-1 or something like that. But Christensen seems like a nice chap. Wasn't the best manager, was he? But he wasn't the worst we've ever had. So good luck to him and his Panama side as they take on England. Obviously, England will probably win, regardless of how poor they were last night. But we're not here to talk about England. I might do a watch along later for it's probably the Swiss game. We've got a little bit of meat in that, haven't we? Noah Okafor, who hasn't made an appearance yet for the Swiss. They've got 4 points, haven't they? As they take on Jesse Marsh's Canadian team, who absolutely wiped the floor with Qatar in their last game 6-0. Obviously, having drawn the first one, they've had a decent time with Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I might do a little watch along for that partly, but let's wait and see what goes on. But what we're speaking about today, enough of that, enough of the housekeeping, going on 2 minutes. Harry Wilson, we're talking about today, and Leeds United have agreed to sign the 29-year-old Welsh international. He joins the bandwagon of Welsh boys at Leeds United. I think is that far, maybe five? Darlow, Rodon, Ethan Ampadu, Dan James, and now Harry Wilson. So there's five of them, all obviously internationals. Darlow looks set to sign a 2-year contract by the look of it, if reports are to be believed. But yeah, Harry Wilson, had a great season. I think his best ever in his career for Fulham last season. 29 years of age now. Harry Wilson, 60 odd senior Welsh caps. Very experienced player. At this level, fairly experienced. He's been at Fulham since 2021. All those years, I think, have been in the Premier League. I think they have. So, yeah, he's played, obviously started at Liverpool, only played one appearance. Didn't make a Premier League appearance for Liverpool. His one appearance came in the FA Cup. Then he had loan spells in the Championship with Bournemouth and with Cardiff and with notably Derby County, Frank Lampard's Derby County, who famously beat our Leeds United side in the playoff semi-final, that disastrous game at Ellen Road. Obviously, he was part of the squad, the Derby squad that were, on the back end of Spygate, of course. When Kemar Roof scored a couple of goals, I think we beat them 2-0 in that specific game at Ellen Road. And then obviously they got their own back at Ellen Road in May of that year, 2019. Disastrous game. Obviously the binoculars came out. There's been, photos going around today I've seen of Harry Wilson doing the binocular on the Ellen Road pitch. Obviously a certain Jane Bogle in that squad as well. I wonder if it was one of them who did the dirty stuff on the floor in the changing rooms. I do not know. But, Frank Lampard's team obviously beat us that day. Harry Wilson has gone on to make a real marker for himself in the Welsh team, in the Fulham side. Predominantly plays on the right wing. Let me know in the comments where Harry Wilson fits into this team. I've no doubt that this is a good signing as a free transfer. Of course it is. Looks like he's getting a higher wage than he was at Fulham. There's a signing on fee for Harry Wilson, and there's it's a long contract by the sound of it. You could probably see about a 4 or 5 year contract, which would take him into his early mid-30s. So yeah, maybe it's his last club, Leeds United. Let's wait and see. But for me, I don't know where he fits in this team. If we're playing what we played at the for the majority in the end of last season, then we don't really play with wingers, do we? We play more with fullbacks and maybe a number 10. So I don't. I mean, he can play at 10, but I think he predominantly plays on the wing. So for me, I don't really know. I mean, it probably spells the end for Willie Nonto, unfortunately. I think Willie is probably the one to go. I think they'll probably keep Dan James, although he was injury ridden last season. Didn't really see the best of him, did we? But the previous season in the Championship, obviously, he was a cracking player in that season, but couldn't really get ahead of steam last season. Didn't really have much game time at all. Was injured pretty much most of the year, most of the season. So let's wait and see. But I think Willie Nonto, because Willie's probably got the higher sell on value at this moment in time, I would have said. Maybe bag 20, 25 million for Willie. You've made money because we're not paying anything for Wilson. And then you can kind of look at the squad and say, hey, okay, Wilson improves it. And he does, no doubt he improves it, but I just don't see where he fits in rightly into the squad. I mean, we were obviously going to sign him at the back end of last season, but it fell through, didn't it, on deadline day in September, I think. But now Leeds United get their man, at the start, in the summer of the next year. So Harry signs, or he will sign at some point. The deal has been agreed. It's been reported by Ornstein, who is obviously the most reliable source you can get, really, up there with Fabrizio Romano as reliable. So that one's done. Let's wait and see who else is in the door. I mean, Leeds United look to be doing a little bit of good business, as we discussed the other day. So maybe tomorrow there might be more news. Dribs and drabs coming through now. But Harry Wilson looks set to sign for Leeds United. That is the take-home message from this video. Let me know your thoughts on that signing, on that imminent signing, in the comments there below, and let me know how he fits into this team, because I am still struggling to really see where Harry Wilson fits in, because I think number 10 will be sorted. I think if obviously we've been linked with the likes of Julian Brandt, and I don't think we probably get him, but it sees the ilk of players that we're looking at. Harry Wilson, is another one that a lot of Premier League and said to be Champions League teams were after. So yeah, it's a good signing. I just don't really know where he fully fits into this sort of starting 11, if you like. Probably like a fill out of the squad. But if that's the ilk of player that they're bringing in, sort of to fill out the squad, then I'm here for that, because it only improves it. And and if you get a splattering of 4, 5, quality additions to this squad, we can really push for something maybe next time. But let's wait and see what happens. But thanks for watching, marching on together, and I'll see you on the next one.